Hey everybody, it's Rudy Sarson with The Dash, and today's my very, very, very special guest is my sister from another mister, Sass Jordan! Hi, Sassy.
Hi, sweet pea.
I've been wanting to do the podcast with you for a while now, and I appreciate it so much that you're willing to, spend time that we're here in Calgary.
I know.
We're in Canada. You're Canadian.
Cowtown.
You're Canadian, but for me, this is a special treat.
Oh,
because I'm from the other side of the border.
I know. I know, baby. I know where you're from.
I just love everything about Canada. That's why I joined a Canadian band.
That's very true.
Which has a lot to do with you, because people ask me, so how did you get to join the Guess Who? And I always say, well, all roads lead to Sass Jordan.
Oh, that is so wild.
It is wild.
So wild.
I mean, we've known each other,
I remember the first time I met you, but you don't, which is amazing. No, you don't.
I do.
We're going to have a fight. Because when was it?
1994.
Oh, you little bastard. I thought you just said you didn't remember.
Of course I remember.
Yeah.
First time I met you...
It was with Whitesnake. You were with Whitesnake. Yes.
No, I met you...
Oh, backstage at that radio thing?
We did it was a Randy Rhoads tribute that we did at the Avalon. And I think you were promoting your first record? Was that your first record?
God. Well, no, probably the second. No, but here's the best. No, if it was 1994, it would have been the third. But here's the thing, is that I don't remember that.
Well, I remember that.
But you do.
And I tell you why. I remember because there was a buzz. Oh, Sass Jordan is here, and she's going to perform.
Yeah. Well, I didn't hear any of that.
What is called the Avalon now. The original was called the Palace. It's in Hollywood.
There were a lot of people there, though, like the Pantera
and
dudes.
Stevie Salas was in your band, T.M. Stevens, and Brian Tichy.
So it was a three-piece?
There might have been one more member.
It wasn't Richie Kotzen. He wasn't there?
It might have been, but this is...
Or maybe we did a song, me and Richie... And those guys, what a killer band you just said.
It was
Whoa,
killer
that's
band. I mean, but there was a huge buzz about you. Because, we all knew the other members. But just the fact that you happened to be there, that was kind of like one of the highlights of the whole evening.
See, I wouldn't have known that, though.
Oh, yeah, But we just kind of like say, hey, how are you? Because I was basically coordinating the whole event. I'll put it this way. I was setting up the list of who would go on at what time, and everybody wanted to go on at 9:30.
Of course.
It is like no, we have to kind of like build up to it, and then have a big ending and a big middle, and all musicians, you know how it is. Yeah, everybody wants to go on at 9:30.
Yeah, so they can get out.
Yeah. Hit the bar.
Or hit the bar. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, and then we actually did some dates also in 94. Yeah, later in 94.
Yeah. And that's when I remember meeting you. When we were in Europe.
We were in Europe. It was Whitesnake.
And it was you and Adrian.
And Adrian Vandenberg, yeah.
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 And that was when the infamous, I always thought it was David's fault, but I think it was just,
What actually happened? What were you...
Well, because...
What are you insinuating?
Oh, my God, really, it was the best. It's the best story, I think. Anyways, it's a little rude, but...
Yeah. It's just between you and me and everybody else.
And everybody else is listening to it, which, I think they can handle a swears or two.
Yeah.
Anyway, maybe one or two. It won't be Rudy swearing. It'll only be Sassy.
Well, it won't be you unless you have to be you. This is you.
Zack-a-tack-a-lackily.
Yeah.
So we were playing in France.
In Paris.
Paris. Thank you. And it was a big convention of EMI Europe. Okay, and that was the label that Whitesnake was on at the time, and so was I in Europe.
Yes.
And there was a big, huge thing. Everybody was like, "You got to be the best you've ever been. This is all the heads of all the record labels in Europe. All the EMI heads of Europe are going to be there, and it's a big deal. And you're opening the show, and it's amazing." And So okay, great, no pressure. But I didn't really care in a sense of, at the time, I was so caught up as usual in my own stuff. I didn't think about this stuff. I wasn't very, on it, like I should have been. But anyways, so right before we were supposed to go on, their tour manager, your tour manager came backstage, came to our room, our dressing room, and said, listen, if you play above 90 dB, we're going to get fined 10,000 euros, which is a huge amount of money at that time, and we'll all be thrown out, and the whole show will shut down, and it'll be over. It'll be the end of everything. Which, of course, basically you could pass gas, and you could hear that over 90 dB. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I get gassy when I fly. You know what I do? I pretend to be asleep. That's what I do.
Anyway, so we go out and we're like horrified, stupid dumbasses. Yeah. We're like, oh my God, really? Oh my God. So now what are we going to do? We can't play this like heavy, loud rock stuff at 90 dB. It's going to. So we go out, we do like 5 songs. I could hear the people standing in front of me talking. It was appalling. And I think I was just really exhausted, etc. And I just threw the mic down and walked off the stage, which, of course, as we know, is extremely professional and something that you should always do not. So needless to say, this whole big build, and also after the show, we were going to this big dinner with all the EMI heads, and there's nothing the other thing. I had to show up to it because I was supposed, it was a thing. Yeah. So, oh my God. So we get off stage, and the band doesn't know what to do, but they follow me. They get out, like it's only, and I can feel the whole place going, what the fuck was that? This is the new thing from America. This kind of sucks balls. Of course, they didn't say it like that because they were European. But anyway, ça c'est dégoûtant, quoi. Anyways, so we get off. Whitesnake goes on. It's freaking 1,000 decibels, of course. It's an old trick, as you know. The old trick in the book. Screw the opening act so that we can...
I must admit, it was my idea.
No, it wasn't. You were so not like that. You were so not Machiavellian.
We were told about the same thing. We were told about the volume, but I don't...
You remember that?
I remember because it was not my favorite gig. I think it was one of my probably the least favorite gig
you can remember I ever
did. I remember the venue. It was upstairs, like more like a dance hall than a theater.
Yes, I don't remember it being upstairs. I just remember this huge...
it was upstairs.
Yeah, flip, I can't believe. Yeah. So then, gotta go. I think it's Dave. I've taken it personally, and I think it's been especially designed to hurt me. So I go, of course, because the world revolves around me. So then I have to go to this dinner, and don't they stick us at the same table as David, who's holding court and smoking cigarettes and drinking wine, darling, and telling stories, and he's just fucking having a marvelous time.
That's a pretty accurate impersonation.
I want to kill this cocksucker. As far as I'm concerned, I just want to kill him. I'm like, I hate you, you fucking bastard. You've ruined my life. That's what I'm thinking. Right? And I'm with Sass, who, of course, is like, yeah, he's a bastard. And I'm like, oh, great, this is great.
Stevie Sass.
Yes, Stevie. Okay. Sorry, Stevie, but you know how annoying you can be. And then they have cars for us to go home in. I mean, I suffer through this dinner, which everybody totally ignores us because we were assholes, basically, which we were. I mean, we didn't pony up and step up to the plate and do it. I just went, fuck this, and I left, which was like, I would never do that now. But anyways, I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. So right before we're leaving, one of the gals, one of the production event people comes running up and she goes, Sass, we don't have a car for David. Is it okay if he comes in your limousine with you? And I'm like, fuck no! I hate that car. And she goes, okay, thank you so much. And put him in our fucking car. I went, oh my God. We're going back to the hotel in Paris in the back of this limousine where there's Stevie's on one side and I'm in the middle and David's next to me, which of course I want to kill him, like, as you know. So he's in the car and he's hammered, of course, bless his heart, and he's going on and on and on about he was feeling bitter that evening. He was going on and on and on about, you know, the LA scene and those lousy 2-bit LA musicians, and Stevie's going there's smoke coming out of his ears, and I can hear David saying this shit. Stevie's pissed. And all of a sudden, David goes, "Do you mind if I smoke?" And of course, neither of us smoked at the time. And we're like, "Yes." And he goes, and he lights it up. And he couldn't, it was hilarious. So then he starts complaining about his wife at the time. I don't want to, you know, hurt anything. Yeah. So, anyways, and it was a thing. So he's going on, you know, the lamp is more interesting than I am. My God, he goes, and then all of a sudden he stops, takes a huge puff off of his cigarette, blows it into the car, and goes, "You know, these are dark days for Coxman."
Oh my God. Oh my God!
I'm telling you, it's the funniest thing ever.
Oh my God!
So, anyways, I held this grudge against David for 20 years because, you know, like you do. Yeah. Who does that? I did. Yeah. So, anyways, cut to maybe it's 2000. Let's say 2013, 2014. Yeah. Brian Tichy and Michael Devon, whom I'm working with in our Project Sun, at the time are playing with Whitesnake.
Current bass player for Whitesnake.
Yeah, well, Devon is still, but Tishy's not.
No, I know he's not.
So they're playing near me. So I'm like, I'm going to go up and see the boys and hang out. Sadly, it's with that traitor, David.
Oh, God. God.
So, but I'm grudge, like, can't you? Oh my God. I mean, I was still pissy. I have no idea. I'm not normally like that. But anyways, whatever. I was pissy. So I get up there and I'm like, I'm going to avoid that bugger. I'm like, and of course, it's Devon's birthday. I'm in a room with David's assistant because we're putting the birthday cake together. And the next thing you know, of course, I hear this voice, unmistakable voice going, "Sassy darling, how are you?" And I'm like, and the smoke comes out my ears. I'm thrown back 40 years or however bloody long ago that is. And I'm just like, "You."
That's what you said, you.
No, I turned around and I'm like, "Oh, hello, David, how are you?" With like daggers are coming out of my eyes.
I've never seen you like that. Never. And I've seen you in some adverse conditions.
I know, but I've mellowed in the years since. That was just my old pissiness. Oh. So then he's like, he has no idea. Of course, he has zero idea. But anyways, I'm like, oh, I gotta tell him. I have to tell him. And he's like, kiss, big hugs, kiss. And I said, you know, David. And there's a silence. He's looking at me, and I went, the last time I saw you, you kind of fucked me up the ass. And there's this long silence while he looks at me, and he goes, you know, I rather think I would have remembered that. At which point, every piece of pissiness I ever had just melted. Because that's the funniest damn thing I ever done. I rather think I would have remembered that.
I think it was probably serious, too.
Oh my God. And from that moment on, I adore him.
Yeah.
He's hysterically funny.
Yeah, he is.
And he's awesome. And I'm sure it wasn't his fault, you know what I mean? But but it was the whole, it was just the time, you know? It was very stressful.
You know what? It was one of those shows that we started at that volume, and for some reason it just escalated, and it got super loud because I remember. It only takes one guy to start turning up a little bit.
The guitar player.
Yeah, then somebody else turns up, and before you know it, it's
a nuclear holocaust.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've known you for a while now. I mean, I've gotten to know you really well. I mean,
I'll tell people,
if you really want to know a musician,